Hello, lovelies. We are live. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to our awesome live all about weekly care routines. I'm Stephanie Classy. I am so super excited to be with you today. I am in the goPure studio, so I'm so excited to be here, and we are going to have an awesome live today. Thank you so much for joining us here on LiveScale, on this awesome new platform that we are using. I know it's a bit different than what we have done in the past. So when you hop on, say hello. I have the comments and everything on a different phone. So if you see me like looking around, I'm in my awesome command center here. I see that Brenda is on. Hi, Brenda. When you hop on, you can create a username, and so you can participate in the comments and in the chat and ask me questions. But we're also doing an incredible giveaway today, and you get a chance to win a product of your choice from goPure. So make sure that you pick a username that is unique. So and if you have been on my lives before, maybe use a name that I would recognize, because I love meeting you all and I love seeing you all come back on these lives. So we have Vanny on, Lisa is on, and then we also have in the chat Crystal here from goPure as well. She's going to be answering your questions, and I'm just so excited. So I know that weekly care routines as a topic might seem a little ambiguous, but I will explain everything and share with you all exactly what that means. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer's on. So yes, so make your username, and we have so many of you joining. Ask your questions, participate, and you can actually share this live. So at the bottom in the chat, you can see where you can drop hearts. You know I love that so much. But there's also a little arrow, and you can click that, and you can share this this live with your friends, and we can get as many people on here as we can, and just have an awesome skincare chat talking all about some really incredible products in our routine that we might not use every single day, but they make a really, really big difference in the quality of our skin and seeing those improvements that we want to see when we start targeting specific concerns. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is the weekly care routines. Not the things we do day in and day out. We're going to be talking about adjusting our skincare maybe so we have a few different routines, products, ingredients that we integrate in just sometimes, whether it be 1 to 3 times a week, or whether it is once a month or every other week, or however you see fit. So this is really, for me, what puts the fun in skincare are the ways I make those adjustments and mix up my routine and add in the serums and the treatments and the masks and all those other things that we're not using every single day, but they make a really, really big difference. So let me know if you have been on a live with us before. Have you seen one of the lives that we've maybe done on Facebook or on Instagram, or in our VIP group on Facebook? And let me know if you are in our VIP group. We do a lot of really incredible exclusive education and content in there as well. And we have the most amazing VIPs, and I absolutely love it. So again, and so Patty's on, Kathy's on, Val. Hi, Kathy. Cloudy58 is on, Renee's on. Hi, Laura, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We have so many of you hopping on. This is amazing. I love it. And let me know if you are one of our VIPs, and if you have spent some time in that group. It's such an amazing community. And if you're not in our VIP group, you have to be in there, because it's just incredible, and people share their before and afters and their experience. And it's just a wonderful, uplifting community, and it's fantastic. So, like I said, some housekeeping. If you create a unique username, that'll make it so much easier for us to choose winners today for the giveaway. And I love names that I recognize, because I just love getting to know each and every one of you as your goPure esthetician. So yes, my name is Stephanie. I am the esthetician and educator here at goPure. And my job is to help each and every one of you feel super confident in your skincare routine so you can reach your goals. I love helping you all on this skincare journey so you can feel incredible in your own skin at every single age. Whether you like the most simple routine or the most dynamic routine with all of the products, whatever works for you is great, and I am here to help you figure out what that is and reach your skin goals. So Kellen is joining us from Louisville, Kentucky. Christina Christina's joining us from Louisiana. Yes, let us know where you are joining us from as well. And then if you are asking a question, which I love, you all know I love answering your questions. If you put a question mark at the end when you type it in, we can actually search by questions, and it really helps us answer your questions. And if you're a winner, we might ping you on here and ask for your email so we can contact you. So I think that's all of the housekeeping. So Marilyn's joining us from Phoenix. Sherry, Sherry, where are you joining us from? It's going by so fast. St. Genevieve, Missouri. We have Connie from Chicago. Yes, and I am here in sunny Southern California at the goPure headquarters. I'm not in my usual setup in Denver. So let's get going into the good stuff here. We have almost 100 people and 99 people on. I want to see how many people we can get on this live. So click that share button, share with your friends, and let's get into it. So we know that the condition of our skin is a result of what we do to it daily, for better or for worse. So it's a result of the UV exposure we get and what our skin is exposed to, but also what we give to our skin, how we nourish our skin both inside and out, and what we are doing in our daily skincare routine. And we know that consistency is so important, but consistency doesn't mean doing the exact same thing all the time. Consistency just means that we are staying regular with having a routine day and night, because it is very important to have a routine day and night, but it doesn't have to be the same stuff all of the time. So that's what I want to talk about, are those extra things, those things that we do to maybe switch up our routine, because there are certain products and ingredients that make a big difference in the condition and quality of our skin, but we don't use them every day, and we shouldn't use them every single day. Now, I'm gonna ask a question here, and I've asked this a bunch of times, but it's one of my favorite questions, and I know that we have some first timers on here. We have some people that have seen lives before. So let's talk about the essentials in our routine, the basics. What are the 3 types of products that everyone needs in our routine? So there are 3 types of products that every person, whether you want the most basic or the most intricate routine and all the extras, there are 3 types of products that everyone needs. So drop that in the comments. And I love your usernames. We have Mushroom joining us from Iowa. This is amazing. Yaya from Arizona. This is fun. So, okay, so Arlene says wash, toner, moisturizer. So that, Laura says cleanser, moisturizer, SPF. Yes, okay, you guys are getting it fast. So everyone needs a cleanser, a moisturizer, and then during the day, an SPF. Those are the basics of skincare. And we know that an SPF in particular makes such a big difference on our skin, because most of the visible signs of aging that we see in our skin is from UV damage and UV exposure. But having a good cleanser and moisturizer that is appropriate for your skin type makes a very big difference. And so those are the basics. But where do we go from there? Once we get that down, once we feel like we have our cleanser and our moisturizer and our SPF down, where do we go from there? It's those extras that elevate our routine and really help us start to target concerns that we have, and then we can make additional choices based on our skin type and our lifestyle and our age and all of those other factors that impact how our skin behaves, how it looks, how it feels, all of that. Now, our day routine. So let's talk about, oh yay, we have someone that shared to their Facebook feed. I love this, I love this, I love this. So all of these other extras, we have serums, we have masks, we have boosters, we have spot treatments and scrubs, and even with masks, there's a lot of different types of masks. And be honest with me in the comments, who has ever felt overwhelmed by the options, by all of those extras, all of the steps, all of the things? And for me, it's what puts the fun in skincare, but I completely understand, and this is why I do what I do, because I know it can be overwhelming and intimidating, but I also know that these are the things that make such a big difference in our routine and helping us get those results. So yes, if you've ever just felt overwhelmed by the options, that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today. And that's why we do these lives regularly, to help you all feel confident in your routine and feel comfortable, not just following step-by-steps, but helping you actually feel confident in making those decisions. When you have that understanding of, okay, I know what this does, I know how to use it, and I know how to make the choices about how I can switch up my routine. That's what I want, because that's what makes skincare fun, is when we can look at our skin and say, okay, what does my skin need today? What does it need tonight? What adjustments can I make in my routine to make sure that I'm giving my skin what it needs? Who wants to feel that way? Who wants to go from feeling overwhelmed with options to feeling excited and feeling confident and feeling empowered with their products and those choices? That's what I want to do on a daily basis for you, but that's kind of what I really want to talk about today, and really talk about the ingredients, products, and then think of them as a routine. And think of it as how these products work together to really give our skin what it needs so it can be fun. Because yes, and some people don't have the time. That's right. We want to keep it simple. So just because we have, say, 10 products doesn't mean we're using all the products at the same time. It doesn't mean we have to use them all. You know, we probably have just a handful we're using regularly, and then we have other ones that we're switching in and out day to night. And so I really I'm hoping that by the end of this, you guys are going to have more clarity, more excitement, and just feel really so empowered with the fun extras that come with skincare. Who thinks that sounds great? Yes, and seasonal. That's such a great point, Arlene. Seasonal changes are really important too. See, this is why I love when you all comment, because you all give the best extra points and perspectives too. I love that. I love that. So, okay. Now we're going to talk about, we talked about the cleanse. Everyone needs a cleanser, a moisturizer, and an SPF, right? Those are the basics. That's where we start. And you know what? If that's all you do, that's great. That's amazing. And that's really, really important. But when we want to elevate our routine, take it to the next level, and really starting to get more specific with our skin type, our concerns, and all of those additional changes, that's when we add all those extras. So I'm gonna take a drink of water really quick, and then we're gonna talk about day versus night here. All right. Val said she's finally getting into her routine. I love that. Susan says she has a very nice AMPN routine. However, she's okay. Yes, and so Susan, that is a really great point. If you feel like something has changed, that's really important to note. And then that's when we want, because we have to pay attention to our skin and how it's feeling. Okay, we're gonna get into it. So now I'm gonna introduce a concept to you called skincare cycling. So skincare cycling is the idea of you either have the same thing you do every single day and night, or you have a series of different routines that have a specific focus that we alternate through. So during the day, we kind of do the same thing, or this is how I like to teach. Our day routine can kind of be our day routine. Our skin is in protection mode. It is trying to keep out all the bad stuff, keep in all the good stuff. It's trying to fight off allergens and pollution and environmental stressors and all of these things. And we are trying to protect it from UV exposure. And so we want a good routine that just focuses on antioxidants and sun care. And then whatever we want to do for makeup, because that's really personal too. Like what works with like what we're doing with our makeup. So we have our cleanser, our awesome vitamin C cleanser. So I love vitamin C packed products for daytime. And my day routine is pretty standard. My cleanser, toner, and toner is optional for a lot of people. And then our vitamin C serum, what we're doing for hyaluronic acid. And then those extras are like, are we using our niacinamide or any boosters? Are we using eye care products? Are we using things like spot treatment? So that's where we add in any of that variability. But our day routine generally is pretty consistent because we're using products that support the protection of our skin from sun care or from antioxidants. And I love an amazing routine packed with vitamin C in particular, and then things like hyaluronic acid that help our skin stay hydrated, and then our amazing moisturizer. So one of the questions I get a lot, spot treatment, that's a really great question. So what is a spot treatment? So there are two different main types of spot treatments out there. Generally, this one is our intensive spot corrector pen, and I got a makeover and I'm so obsessed with it. But this is used to specifically target dark spots and hyperpigmentation on the skin. And if you didn't know, we just gave this a makeover, new applicator, and it has 3 times the amount of product in it. And if you have not tried this, and if dark spots and hyperpigmentation are one of your concerns, I would love for you to get it and try it. I love this so much because the reason why we want to make sure we're focusing for our standard day routine, having it be antioxidant, sun protection focused, is 90% of the visible signs of aging that we see in our skin are from UV damage and exposure. And the things that exacerbate any type of dark spots or hyperpigmentation are things like sunlight and heat and inflammation. And a lot of that can happen during the day. Yeah, Sherry, I love it for dark spots, but dark spots need consistency. So that's the difference between having the weekly care, the skin cycling, the variable routines versus the stuff that happens consistent, like how do I say that? Not consistently, because we were talking about the difference. It's more like I do the same thing every day. So the repetition, because when we have dark spots, the timeline is longer to see improvements with those. And it actually needs kind of the same thing during the day to keep it from getting worse and to help improve the appearance of those things. And so when we are trying to improve the appearance of dark spots, we want to stay very consistent with the same types of ingredients during the day that really help us combat that UV exposure and help improve the appearance. But the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients that help improve the appearance of dark spots and hyperpigmentation also help us improve the appearance of lines and wrinkles and those other things. So they work very well together. Now, and Joyce, that's a great point. Lots of wrinkles, no dark spots. So UV exposure also causes, those lines and wrinkles as well. And so vitamin C and antioxidant rich products actually help with the appearance of lines and wrinkles as well. It's not just dark spots and hyperpigmentation. And so all of those visible signs of aging that we're trying to improve the appearance of, that's why that day routine and those vitamin C rich products, those antioxidant rich products make such a big difference to help our skin fight that good fight during the day. Yes, Arlene, they are. It's such quality ingredients, such quality products, and it's incredible. So can we use other things during the day, or should we? Here's one thing to consider with, variability in our day routine is, are those ingredients going to help support that protective element with those antioxidants and protection, help from like pollution and environmental stressors and all of those things? Or are there ingredients out there that should not be used during the day because they can make our skin more sensitive to the sun, or they can be deactivated? Did you guys know that there are some ingredients that are actually deactivated when they get in the sun? So we talk a lot about ingredients we can't use during the day because they make our skin more sensitive to the sun, but there are some that actually get deactivated by sunlight too. And so during the day, one of my favorite things, if you do want to do something a little extra and do kind of that bonus weekly care routine, is still something that focuses on the antioxidants and the brightening and the hydration. Those are my favorite things to do during the day. And the brightening sheet mask is incredible, and I do love it because this can be used day and night. And this is what I will say too, is that the vitamin C in here is actually a different vitamin C that is in our incredible Brighten and Even serum. This is the daytime awesome superstar, but this has 2 forms of vitamin C, sodium ascorbyl phosphate and that Kaduku plum. This has a different form of vitamin C that works very, very well. And this also has niacinamide in there, and it pairs really well. And this has a different form of vitamin C. So I get a lot of questions saying, does one replace the other? Is it too much? Remember, this is weekly care. This is the extras. This is kind of, we have our standard day routine. Do we want to do something different? If you did during the day, you could absolutely have a day where you're doing a little extra. You cleanse and you tone your skin. You use your brightening sheet mask and enjoy that moment. Yes, and this brightening sheet mask is, I know, I love all of you that have tried them. I love this mask so much. It's so great, but it's safe day and night. And so it's gonna give a boost of hydration with that snow mushroom. It has that niacinamide. And the type of vitamin C in here, ascorbyl glucoside, works very, very well with niacinamide. And niacinamide also has those brightening qualities. And so you do your brightening sheet mask, and then what you could do is just decide that's enough. I'm gonna moisturize and do my SPF, or you could do all of the bells and whistles and use your Brighten and Even serum afterwards, and your spot corrector, your eye care, all of those things. So this would kind of be the weekly care element for day if you wanted to do something extra, because it still is in that category of being brightening and hydrating and focusing on those antioxidants, which is really what we want to do in our day routine. And it does, Arlene, it gives the most amazing glow. It really does. And it just feels so luxurious to me. And so my next question I always get is, how often? How often would we want to do something like this? I love integrating in a brightening sheet mask once a week or so if I can, but I am going to talk about it a little bit more when we talk about the night routine options, because I actually love the idea of doing an additional brightening / dark spot targeting evening routine, and I'm going to explain why. But yes, and mom of 3 girls said my skin gets so dull. Now, I want to explain that is such a great segue into this. So as we age, our cell turnover slows. So in our prime, it's roughly every month where we get new cells, about every 28 days, once a month while we're young adults. And as we age, that process slows to 40 to 60 days. And that can cause dullness in the skin. And that is why we start doing additional things to our skin to help support those natural processes, but also to help brighten and exfoliate and do all of these other things. And so yes, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit with exfoliation, but yes, dullness absolutely happens. So doing those extra things during the day that can be brightening and supportive of, helping our skin be protected is really important. So let's talk about one question I get a lot. Can I exfoliate during the day? Because exfoliants and exfoliating products are one of the main things we talk about when we're talking about weekly care. The things that we don't do every day necessarily, but make a big difference in our skin. And they can be very brightening. And they're incredible products, but we don't want to overdo it. Now, if your product has alpha hydroxy acids like glycolic acid, lactic acid, malic acid, or beta hydroxy acids like salicylic acid, which are featured in something like our Microdermabrasion scrub, it is best to keep exfoliation to our night routine because they can make our skin more sensitive to the sun. Now, there are some scrubs out there just in the skincare world generally that don't have any of those chemical exfoliants. They're purely a physical exfoliant, purely something that helps physically remove the dead skin. Those actually are okay to integrate during the day as long as they don't have those additional chemical exfoliants in there. So I prefer to keep my exfoliation for nighttime, just generally, and I want to keep my day products to be antioxidant and hydrating and nourishing. But you technically can exfoliate during the day as long as you are making sure that you're not using ingredients that will make your skin more sensitive to the sun, and you're very, very good with your SPF, because we always want to be good with our SPF. Here, I want to check comments here. Yes, and we do want to take the time for us. So that's my next question. How often do you exfoliate? And we're going to talk about exfoliation generally as weekly care, and then we're going to talk a lot about different exfoliation routines. So physical exfoliation is anything that manually helps the cells shed from our skin. So they can be scrubs, even when you use a washcloth on your face, when you use a cleansing brush, even, you know, dermaplaning is considered a form of physical exfoliation. Versus what is called chemical exfoliation, which is the use of different hydroxy acids or enzymes to help dissolve the bonds between our cells and help them slough off without it being a manual process. And like I said, our cell turnover slows as we age, and so that process of that shedding takes longer, and it can make the skin look more dull, but it can also help prevent your ingredients from absorbing. And that is something that is really, really important, is exfoliation makes a difference in our skin. It helps, you know, take off those excess dead cells. It can make the skin appear brighter. And hydroxy acids are amazing hydrators, actually. They are really incredible to improve the appearance of not just like of dull skin, but they can improve the appearance of enlarged pores. They can improve the appearance of dark spots and hyperpigmentation and lines and wrinkles. But we want to make sure we don't overdo it. When we exfoliate, it really helps prepare the skin, and it can allow other products and ingredients to absorb. But we do have to make sure we're not pairing them with too many things, and we have to make sure we're not doing it too frequently. So the question was asked, how often do you exfoliate? And I generally say exfoliation should happen 1 to 3 times a week. We want to make sure we don't overdo it. Yes, and the enzyme mask is awesome, Jennifer, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Vitamin C, it depends on the type of vitamin C. So there's a question from I Want Great Skin. Can a vitamin C serum dry your skin? Now, I'm going to use our Hydrate and Smooth Serum as an example. So vitamin C is an umbrella category, and I did a live a couple weeks ago on National Vitamin C Day talking all about vitamin C, but it depends on the type of vitamin C, and it will depend on what else is in the serum. So this Brighten and Even serum is hydrating and brightening and incredible, and it is not a drying serum, but you have to know what is in your skincare and in your product and the type of vitamin C to be able to answer that question. So our Brighten and Even serum is very hydrating and rich in humectants and has a very stable, easy to tolerate vitamin C, which is why I'm totally obsessed with it. Now, we're going to talk about evening routines and all the stuff I've been saying about exfoliation. So if we're exfoliating 1 to 3 times a week, how do we decide when to do that? And what does an exfoliation routine look like? And what do we do on the nights when we're not exfoliating? I'm going to answer all of those questions because when I introduced the concept of skincare cycling earlier in this live, I'm really going to get into it now. So skincare cycling is the idea that we have different routines in our evening routines that we cycle throughout the week, and we'll have an exfoliation routine, or we'll have a retinol routine, or we'll have just a barrier support, hydrating, moisturizing, nourishing routine that we do, and specific products and ingredients live within that routine. So it stays simple and not complicated, and we're making sure that we're not using too many products at the same time. We're making sure we're not overdoing it. But that's the way I want to think about it. When you have a lot of different products, some of those products live within a specific routine that has a specific job. And we want to make sure that we are balancing our active ingredients and not overdoing it. So who here knows that you should not exfoliate on the nights that you are using retinol? Who here knows that? drop some hearts or leave a comment if you know that we should not be using retinol on nights we exfoliate. Glycolic acid is an amazing ingredient. It has a ton of benefits for the skin. Retinol is an amazing ingredient and has a ton of benefits for the skin, but you can have too much of a good thing at the same time, because we don't want to overdo it. Now, I'm going to share some facts about what our skin does as we sleep, and then hopefully it will make more sense as to why we have different ingredients and routines that we want to do at night when we understand what our skin does when we're sleeping. I was talking about during the day, our skin is in protection mode, and our skin is trying to protect itself from all of those things that do damage to it. Pollution and environmental stressors and allergens and UV and dirt and oil and grime and all of bacteria and all of that stuff. Your skin is in protection mode. At night, our skin goes into a reparative and restorative mode. Products absorb better and our cell turnover increases. And so I'm going to actually share some really cool facts with you about how our skin can utilize these different ingredients and how we can form these different skin cycling routines. So from about 9 to 11 p.m. is the evening phase, and our skin naturally wants to repair. And during this phase, we release the hormone melatonin, and that's when you start getting sleepy. Think of this phase as in the evening when we start getting sleepy, or the early parts of us being asleep. And we can actually absorb the topical products much better. And our skin is trying to counteract that damage that it just faced during the day. Then, as we're sleeping and we get more into our sleep, we start releasing human growth hormone. And that accelerates that reparative and cell regeneration naturally. And so between kind of 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. when we're deeper into sleep is when this happens. And our cell production can actually double. So who knew that? Who knew that we start releasing these different hormones, our cell turnover increases, and our skin starts to repair itself. And if we get into a really good deep sleep, 2 to 4 a.m., our cell turnover can increase 2 to 3 times. That's major. So we want to use products and ingredients that can leverage what our body's doing naturally, help this process and support it. And it's really, really important. Oh, yay, Lisa, we have a winner. Lisa won a product of her choice. Congratulations. I'm going to take another sip here. And so like I said, during the day, we're using intentional products to help what our body's trying to do and combat everything it faces during the day. At night, we want to do the same thing and use products and ingredients that can support what our skin is trying to do at night as it is going through these processes. Now, during the night, if our body temperature increases, our skin is more permeable and it can absorb products and it can absorb them more deeply. But anytime stuff can get into our skin better, it can get out of our skin more easily too. So we can actually have more transepidermal water loss, like losing that hydration and that water content from our skin as we sleep as well. And so we also want to do things that help support our barrier, because our skin's barrier, and if you've been on my lives before, you've heard me talk about barriers. Our skin's barrier is what helps keep the good stuff in, which is water, and keep the bad stuff out. But as we sleep and our body temperature increases, and also if we're using ingredients like retinol and alpha hydroxy acids, it can weaken that barrier. And so we want to have routines that also support that. It's very, very important. So let's talk about these weekly care routines and skin cycling. So we have an exfoliation routine as one, where we exfoliate. and we have a routine just focused on exfoliating the skin and then moisturizing. Then we can have a retinol routine. And this routine is just focused on making sure we're using our retinol products properly and not overdoing it, not using exfoliants. Then we can have routines that are barrier supportive. Like I said, we're not using those active ingredients. We are only nourishing our skin and supporting that barrier. And then we can also maybe have some routines where if we want to basically take what we did during the day with those antioxidants and those vitamin C products and maybe use those at night and be very, very supportive of targeting the appearance of dark spots, we can do that too, because when our skin is not being exposed to UV, it can actually do a better job of improving the appearance of those dark spots. So those are kind of my 4 main weekly routines: the exfoliation routine, the retinol routine, the barrier routine, and the super vitamin C dark spot treatment routine. Oh yes, I know, mom of 3 girls said I inspired her to grab a bottle of water. And Miriam says skin cycling is how I've done it for my skincare. Yes, and that's really important. So who here uses retinol every single night? Drop in the comments. And that's fine, because some people do use retinol every single night and they do the same routine every single night. Or who here just does the same routine every single night? I don't want to say that that's wrong or that you shouldn't do that. Weekly care routines and skin cycling is just an option for you, for your skin. It can be very well suited for different skin types. I have sensitive skin, and so for me, this is something that works very well. So I just want to share a different concept where we can have different routines that we cycle through, specifically in the evening, that help us take advantage of what our skin is doing naturally, and it's more targeted, okay? Laura says, I use retinol 3 to 4 times a week in Retinol Sandwich. I love that. Arlene says every few nights. And Lisa is retinol every night. Okay, see? I love this, and I don't want anyone to think like the way they were doing it's wrong or there's only one way to do it. So skin cycling and these weekly care routines are just a different way to think about it, where we have specific products and ingredients that live in a specific routine and we just work through them at night. Now, is there a best order? Well, kind of. So if we're thinking about starting the week off, I like to start with an exfoliation routine because, like I said, when we exfoliate, it really helps prepare our skin to receive other ingredients. It helps remove that excess dead skin. But we don't want to use every single product and ingredient right after we exfoliate. So that's why I like to kind of kick off my skincare week with exfoliation. And then I move on the next night to retinol, and then barrier support, and then that's how I like to cycle. So let's talk about an exfoliation routine. Here at goPure, we have 3 main ways to exfoliate. Who knows what our exfoliating products are here? Who knows what, and do you have a favorite? Let me know your favorite. So first up, we have our amazing Microdermabrasion Resurfacing Exfoliator. This is a combination of a physical exfoliant with those really incredible, but they are very safe. It's a pumice powder and bamboo stem powder, so it's 2. So it's bamboo stem and pumice, but it's a powder, so it's not that rough abrasion that you have to be worried about. But it also utilizes salicylic acid, which is BHA, citric acid, glycolic acid, lactic acid, malic acid, grapefruit extract, and papaya. So it really has those physical exfoliants and those chemical exfoliants that work in concert. This is really amazing if you feel like you have extra dull skin, extra rough skin, oilier skin types, enlarged pores. This is amazing. So you would cleanse your skin, then use a scrub. So this is how I like to work through an exfoliation routine. Is the exfoliant being washed off the face with a scrub? Yes. We want to make sure we are exfoliating clean skin. So my favorite tip is to keep this in the shower And oh, congratulations, Chelsea. You just won your choice of a product. Congratulations. And I see so many people saying that they love this. So cleanse, and then we use a scrub. And then we move on with the rest of our routine. So what does that look like? Can you use additional exfoliating products? Can you use retinol? Remember, we don't want to use retinol, but our enzyme mask was actually formulated to work well with this because this is very gentle. This is what is called double exfoliation, where you use 2 different exfoliating products. I don't always double exfoliate because my skin is sensitive. You have to know if you can handle more than one type of exfoliant, and they need to work well together. Typically, one is fine. So we just talked about the Microdermabrasion scrub. Now we're going to talk about an enzyme mask routine. Now, this is where I love hearing your input too. I've heard so many ways to use this enzyme mask, and there's kind of no wrong way because this is very, very gentle. This uses glycolic acid, but it is still very gentle. It also uses fruit enzymes and pumpkin. So it has the papaya enzymes, it has pumpkin, which is a natural alpha hydroxy acid, it has orange peel and lemon balm, and a ton of nourishing oils. So this is a moisturizing exfoliant. This is just packed with those nourishing emollients. And I know some of you that rinse it off. I know some of you that sleep in it. I know some of you that just wipe it off. So there's a lot of ways to use this. Can you use hyaluronic acid or niacinamide after exfoliating? Yes, I'm gonna talk about that. So we choose our exfoliant. And then the third is the anti-wrinkle sheet mask. So we would cleanse our skin, have clean skin. We would apply our sheet mask, let it sit on the skin, and then remove it, and then we can massage that in, or you could actually remove the residual if you wanted to. I like to leave it on. So we pick our exfoliant, or if you really felt like you wanted to, you could double these 2 up. Now, what do we do after in our exfoliation routine? And that is a really, really great question. I love focusing on hydrating with a Hydrate and Smooth Serum, using ingredients like niacinamide that are barrier restorative, and then doing really, really good moisturizing. So those are some of my favorite things to do when I'm choosing an exfoliation routine. Remember, we have all of these different things that we can exfoliate. It's kind of like a build your own exfoliation routine. Build your own type of exfoliation. So if your skin needs a boost of hydration and gentle exfoliation, I love the sheet mask. And you really could use this 2 to 3 times a week. These exfoliants can all be used multiple times in the week. We just don't want to go over 3 times typically, because we want to protect our barrier. Yes, and that niacinamide is amazing. So if your skin's feeling dehydrated, if you want to boost that glow, if you want something that is much more serum-like, absolutely the sheet mask. If you want something that is more nourishing and moisturizing and very, very gentle, and this is the one you can use the most frequently too, the enzyme mask. And if you want that combination of the physical and chemical exfoliation, especially if you have very dull, very rough skin, enlarged pores, or oilier skin, this is an amazing option too. And then you follow with ingredients that hydrate, like hyaluronic acid or the Hydrate and Smooth Serum, niacinamide, and appropriate moisturization. Yes, and it's like, that niacinamide really is like a magic elixir. Yes, and you, mom of 3 girls, I think that one of our most underrated products is the enzyme mask. I feel like everyone needs this. Everyone needs to try it. I've heard some of you use it on your feet. I mean, like, this is so incredible because it is very gentle but effective, and it is incredibly nourishing, and it is packed with some of my absolute most favorite oils. I love this. I love this. It's so good. And I do really feel like it is so underrated. Now, I have to keep going because I'm running out of time here. But so we have our exfoliation routine. You pick your exfoliant based on what your skin needs. And that's why I love having multiple options, but we're still not complicating it. We want to exfoliate clean skin, And then we want to move on with ingredients that hydrate and nourish and support our barrier through things like niacinamide and an appropriate moisturizer. And you can absolutely even top with an oil. Now, a retinol routine. I love the next night after I exfoliate to do a retinol routine. I cannot use retinol every single night, but I like cycling my skincare. I like having nights dedicated with different routines and thinking about it like my weekly care routines. So how you use retinol is up to you. And actually throughout the week, I switch it up. I saw someone say they do a retinol sandwich a few times a week, every time. That's amazing. I sometimes just use a retinol cream. Some nights I do a retinol sandwich, and some nights I will just do a more intensive retinol serum application, and I switch it up that way. It is what it looks like for you and what your skin can tolerate based on how long you have used retinol and your skin sensitivity. So in the comments, talk to me about how you use retinol. How many nights a week do you use it? Do you sandwich? Do you just focus on the retinol cream? Do you mix it up and change it up throughout the week? Let me know, because I love you all seeing too that we all do this differently, and that's perfectly fine. And just because there's variability doesn't mean it needs to be complicated or overwhelming. Now, I saw a question here. Can I use the vitamin C moisturizer after exfoliation? That's such a great question. So, vitamin C pairs very, very well with exfoliating products. I didn't want to overwhelm you with information, but you actually can follow an exfoliation routine with especially the goPure vitamin C products, because remember, these are gentle, stable vitamin C ingredients that we are using in our products. So yes, actually, your skin loves antioxidants and vitamin C type things after you exfoliate. I just didn't want to overwhelm you, but I absolutely love following my exfoliation routine with the vitamin C moisturizer or the glycopeptide anti-wrinkle moisturizer, just depending, but I absolutely love following an exfoliation routine with vitamin C things and this vitamin C moisturizer. That is a really, really great question. So I'm seeing, and I'm gonna tell you what a retinol sandwich is. I love seeing how you use it. So I see 3 times a week, retinol serum. Yes, we definitely don't wanna use retinol around the mouth for sure. And I didn't even mention this, I'm so bad. If there's anything on here that you want to grab, you can absolutely shop while you learn, which I think this is so fun. And I'm so sorry I didn't mention that. That's what makes this so cool. But this is a new platform for us and I'm still learning, and I'm so sorry I didn't mention that yet. But you can grab all this as we're learning. So retinol sandwich. I'm gonna talk about the main ways to build a retinol routine here. Now, when we're starting out retinol, we need to integrate it in slowly. Retinol is very dynamic, and remember how I was saying at night our cell turnover increases 2 to 3 times, and our skin is more permeable. Retinol is really powerful when we use it as our skin is going through that. Retinol is also one of the main ingredients that is deactivated by sunlight. So that's one of the reasons we don't use retinol during the day, is that sunlight deactivates it. And especially when we're starting to use it, it can make our skin more sensitive to the sun. So, and even when we use retinol at night, we need to make sure we're using SPF during the day, but there's a lot of ways to use it in a way that works for you. So, I love a retinol cream. When I want the most simple retinol routine ever, I will cleanse my skin. I will let it dry because retinol is applied on dry skin. I will put on my niacinamide serum because retinol and niacinamide are best friends, so I love niacinamide in a retinol routine. If you're using retinol, niacinamide is incredible. And then I apply my eye care and my retinol cream and I'm done. That's the most simple retinol routine ever. Who feels like they can do that? And that's my favorite way to get started on retinol, because when we start retinol, we need to start slowly. We don't want to go in 7 nights a week with, our most intensive retinol product. Some people can do that, most people cannot, and it's too much because retinol is very active and it works very well, but we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. So after and that's my most simple routine is I cleanse, I niacinamide, I retinol cream and eye care, and I am done. Now, question on the Retinol Sandwich. Oh, and yes, niacinamide is my BFF too. I love that. Retinol Sandwich is where we actually sandwich our retinol serum in between two moisturizers. So we literally create a sandwich with our moisturizer of choice. And what that does is it actually helps buffer the retinol in that absorption, because remember, as we sleep, we actually absorb products faster. And so we apply on dry skin. If we're just using it by itself, moisturize, amazing. But if we want to buffer that, we can cleanse and tone, put on our niacinamide, because retinol and niacinamide are best friends, and then we make a little retinol sandwich. You apply your moisturizer, apply your retinol, and apply your moisturizer again. And it's so great because if your skin is more dry, if it's very sensitive, or if you feel like you just have a hard time tolerating it, or the nights that I sandwich are just nights when I feel like my skin is just feeling more sensitive, or if I just want to buffer it, that's when I do it. And some people always sandwich their retinol, and some people just do it sometimes. And it's a really, really great way. Laura says she sandwiches between the glycopeptide moisturizer and the retinol moisturizer. That works great. I love that. And I love hearing how you all choose to sandwich the retinol. But there are different ways to do it, because remember, we're talking about weekly care. We went through the cool different routines you can do with exfoliation. We're not using them all, we're just picking a way to do it on an exfoliation night, right? Same thing with retinol. We just pick how we want to use that ingredient in a way that works for us and our skin. Some people will sandwich in the winter when it is more dry, and they just feel like they need that additional nourishment for the skin. And then maybe in the spring, summer, fall, they are using their retinol in a more traditional way. Let's see. That is a really great question. Same moisturizer on both sides of the sandwich. It can be, or you can mix it up. That's why skincare is fun. As long as you feel like you're using products that work well with your skin, you could use the same moisturizer, or you could absolutely mix it up if you wanted to. I have no problems with that at all. What are the best options for oily skin? That is a really great question. So as far as retinol is concerned, I really, really love the Firm and Lift Serum for everyone, but especially for oily skin. This has a Granactive Retinol. It has vitamin E, it has hyaluronic acid in there, and it also has bakuchiol. And both Granactive Retinol, which is a specific retinoid, and bakuchiol are very, very good, especially for oily skin, skin that has large pores, maybe skin that is breakout prone. They're really amazing for all skin types, but it is, in my opinion, one of the most appropriate types of retinol for that skin type. So what I like to do for oilier skin is a lot of times oily skin can do a better job of tolerating without having to buffer or sandwich, because there's more oil in the skin naturally. So I would cleanse the skin with a gentle cleanser, making sure we're not using anything that has salicylic acid or is too drying on a retinol night, even for oily skin, because we want to actually leverage the skin's natural oil. Let the skin dry. Then apply no more than a pea size amount. That's a rule for retinol. Just a pea size will do it. Let that sit on the skin for about 5 minutes or so. Then we can do our niacinamide. Technically, you could do it before too, but that's where I like to do it. Put our niacinamide on and then finish with our eye care, and then the moisturizer that you feel works the best with your oily skin. That's the way I like to do it, and that is also the way I like to do it if you want a more intensive application of retinol. That is the same process I would use. I would use a more gentle cleanser, let the skin fully dry. I would apply a pea-sized amount of the retinol on the skin, let it absorb for about 5 minutes, add my niacinamide, my eye care, and then what moisturizer I am choosing to use that evening. And you see how there's all these fun ways to do it? And it's a personal choice. We're not using all the products, but we are saying this is what I'm doing tonight on my retinol night, when I'm skin cycling in my retinol routine, and I do like to do a retinol night after an exfoliation night. Rianne, what's the difference between the active retinol and the original? Okay, this is a great question. So I don't have one of the originals next to me, but the original serums are where we started at goPure. I feel like we definitely make the most amazing serums. And we have our trios of serums, and the originals are really where we started. And they are very clean, very effective formulations that are just at an unbeatable price. A few years later, we developed our actives line, which these products are even more elevated. They have even more active ingredients, and they target your concerns on an even faster timeline. Now, the specific difference between the original's retinol serum and the actives firm and lift serum, the original serum has traditional retinol in it. It is an amazing retinol product. I feel like it is hydrating and at a really affordable price point. It's incredible. The Actives Firm and Lift Serum has that Granactive Retinoid. Granactive Retinoid is very special. It is very, very stable. Our skin recognizes it very easily. And it is more easily tolerated. So you actually, essentially the easiest way to say it is you can get better, faster results with less irritation than traditional retinol. And then this also pairs it with bakuchiol, which is a plant retinol alternative. And then it has that tamarind, which is that botanical hyaluronic acid and the vitamin E. And so it is just a more elevated retinol formulation, essentially. And the actives are going to have, they're just the more advanced version of some of these ingredients, which is amazing, and that's why they're the actives line. Liesel, no retinol around the mouth. So this is a great point. I like to leave space between the eye and the mouth and even the nose area. These are mucous membranes, and the skin is thinner. And the mouth, did you know that our lips don't have oil glands? Our lips don't have oil glands, and so any area like that is going to be much more susceptible to the drying and the potential irritation from a lot of active ingredients, but especially retinol. So that's why I don't like to get it too close to the mouth, because when we apply products, it absorbs and it goes into the skin, but then it expands. You know, it's like when think about if you spill a cup on the carpet, it's not gonna stay in that one spot. It's gonna go in and it's gonna expand. The same thing happens with skincare. So if we give a little space, it will still absorb and expand in that area. We just wanna make sure that we're not getting too close to the mouth, because we don't want any additional drying, because our lips don't have those oil glands naturally and are gonna be more susceptible to that dryness and that irritation. That's a really, really great question. You guys ask the best question. So now, I want to talk about, before I run out of time, one of my other favorite routines, because I did talk about the dark spot routine when I was talking about day. I will do that at night as well. But one of the most important routines that we can add into a weekly care routine is a barrier support routine. Barrier support is really important for our skin function. Our skin's natural barrier is a mix of different lipids, fatty acids, cholesterol, and ceramides that work to lock in the water in our skin. It also keeps it soft, it keeps it supple, it helps keep out those environmental stressors, and it is very, very important for appropriately functioning skin. When our barrier becomes compromised, our skin is red, it is irritated, it is inflamed, it can cause breakouts, it can look scaly, and it gets dehydrated. And we don't want that. No one wants that, right? And so that's why we want to make sure we are integrating in ingredients throughout our routine in the week that support our barrier function for sure. Like our amazing Niacinamide Booster, our skin's best friend, this 10% Niacinamide Booster, right? But it's really amazing to have routines once or twice a week even, depending on what your skin needs, where we just are giving our skin a break from exfoliants. We're giving our skin a break from retinol maybe. And we just focus on nourishing our skin and supporting that barrier. Yes, Laura, I love that booster. Now, what does a barrier support routine look like, and what types of products do we integrate into it? So a barrier support routine for me is something that gently cleanses the skin, and then we focus on hydrating the skin and those ingredients that are barrier supportive. Kind of what we would do maybe after exfoliating, but without the exfoliant. So I would cleanse the skin. Toning is optional. I see, do you use toner after every cleanse? That depends on skin type. So our toner is a hydrating toner. It is packed with nourishing botanicals. It is not stripping and drying. But for the most dry skin types, they may not want to tone. You may just want to cleanse and then move on to the rest of your routine. Traditionally, a toner balances the skin and helps restore the pH, but our products are not stripping and drying, and our cleanser does not have SLS. So there aren't those same concerns with like the pH getting thrown out of whack because you're using something too stripping and drying. And Brenda, I think I just answered that, why use a toner. So toner is really great for this one especially because this has tea tree in it. It is balancing. It gives a boost of hydration. It can be additionally soothing. I personally love a toner. It can add an additional step just to make sure that your skin is fully prepared to receive the rest of the ingredients. Now, toners generally are a big category, and there's a lot of different toners out there. But I treat this more like a skin essence and as a hydrating boost to kick off my skincare routine. I love it. I've never used a toner like this before. Oh my gosh, it just feels so good when you put it on the skin. It's hard to describe. It's refreshing and hydrating, and I just feel like my skin is clean without being dry, and it's just ready to receive the skincare I'm gonna put on top. I know Lisa says, I didn't want to love the toner, but I really do. Okay, I have a confession. So obviously now I work for goPure, but a year ago, I did not. And I was gonna be doing some educating, and goPure reached out to me, and I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical about toners because, like I said, it's a very broad category, and there's a lot of really bad ones that are drying and stripping, and I'm such a skeptic, and I used that toner and it just absolutely blew my mind. I had never used a toner like it. I was obsessed with the aloe that was in there and rosehip. Those are two of my favorite ingredients. I love that it integrates tea tree and witch hazel responsibly, and there's no alcohol, and I mean, I've never used a toner like it. And Julie said the same. I'm a skeptic. I've got your guys' back. I literally go into everything as a skincare skeptic because I always want to do right by each and every one of you. It's so important to me. And I was such a skeptic, and I love hearing that because it just feels so good on the skin. And that's one of my favorite things is so many people that have tried it now will say the same thing. They've never used anything like it. It feels amazing, and I just really feel like my skin is properly cleansed and prepped to receive the rest of my skincare. That being said, I don't tone all the time because, again, it depends on how dynamic I want my routine to be and what else I am using, but I'm absolutely obsessed with it and I love it, and I use it probably 75% of the time. Now, okay, yes, niacinamide on damp skin. I want to get into this barrier support routine with our niacinamide booster. So barrier support to me is focusing on ingredients that help our skin, like niacinamide. Niacinamide is barrier supportive. It's amazing. If you feel like your skin is red and inflamed and dry and dehydrated, if you battle dark spots and hyperpigmentation, if you battle excess oil production, like your barrier is trying to work a little too hard, and large pores, all of those things, you need this niacinamide booster. It is balancing and barrier supportive, and it is a superstar. So I will cleanse my skin, or cleanse and tone. I will put on I don't have a specific order. I love the Hydrate and Smooth Serum and the niacinamide together. And those both will add a rush of hydration to the skin, start boosting that barrier. Then I do my eye care. And then I will go in with the anti-wrinkle moisturizer. I love this on a barrier support night because it also has niacinamide in it, and obviously a smaller amount than the booster, but it has a peptide ceramide blend in here, and ceramides are a foundational component to our barrier, as well as fatty acids and nourishing lipids, so it's not heavy, and I just slather myself in this. So that is one of my absolute favorite combinations, and I don't know how I didn't grab the Hydrate and Smooth Serum, but I don't have it right next to me. But that is what I do on a barrier support night. And then for a bonus, if I really feel like I want to boost that barrier, I top with oils. I haven't really talked about the oils, but any of the routines that we have talked about today, you can always top with an oil. And that's what I do when I really just want to make sure that I am giving my skin that additional emollient nourishment and moisturization. I top it with an oil. And that's how I get like my ultimate glazed donut face on a barrier support night, is by topping what I have done with an oil. And I absolutely love that. Yes, and I'm gonna start working on things like that with the infographics on skincare cycling and all of those things. Joyce, I use so much oil. I love the oils. I love them so much. And you know that I love parading around like a glazed donut at the end of the evening. Now I am going to be, what I'll do for you all is I'll make sure I write a blog on this. So it will be written, but again, I know some of you love having that standard routine, the same thing you do during the day and the same thing you do at night. You have your day routine and your night routine. And I love having that standard day routine. And I just love you all being consistent. Skincare cycling, remember, is just another option for you. It's a way to simplify if you want to use maybe less ingredients and in a specific routine and rotate them throughout the week. It's also a way to make sure you're not using too many active ingredients at one time. You're making sure you're not exfoliating and using retinol at the same time. You're making sure maybe you're not exfoliating or using exfoliants you shouldn't be using during the day. And it's just a way to kind of walk through the week where we have our exfoliation routine and we decide what we want to do to exfoliate based on what our skin needs and our skin type and our skin concerns. Then the next day we have our retinol routine. How is my skin feeling? What does my skin need? How do I want to use retinol tonight? Do I want to do a more intensive application? Do I want to sandwich it? Or maybe do I want a really simple routine and I just want to use my retinol moisturizer? And then we have our barrier support where we just want to make sure we're not using all those actives. We just want to nourish our skin and we want to hydrate and we want to make sure that we are keeping our skin in a place where it stays happy and not irritated or too dry. And then if we want to, we can always do what I call our anytime routine, which is those dark spot antioxidant vitamin C. Like you can always use it. I feel like you can always do a vitamin C routine, day, night, anything. Those are always an option. Now, okay, I wanna look at some questions. Exfoliate one day, day 2 retinol, day 3 barrier, and then repeat. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Lisa Lou, that's a great way to do it. That's the easiest, most straightforward way if you wanna cycle. We have our exfoliation night, our retinol, and our barrier night, and then we just repeat. That's such an easy way to do it. And then during the day, we are all up in the vitamin C and the antioxidants. That's such an easy way to do it. Yeah, so the 4 are, I will go through it one more time. We have our exfoliation routine. What are we doing to exfoliate? We choose our exfoliant and then we support that barrier on exfoliation nights. We have our retinol night. How are we using retinol tonight? We want to make sure that we are applying our retinol on dry skin and we are moisturizing properly. Then we have our straight up barrier support night. I am hydrating, I am nourishing, I am using my niacinamide and I am supporting that barrier. And then the 4th option is that additional dark spot treatment night. Those things that we can use during the day, but if we don't want to do all the extra bells and whistles during the day, we can absolutely, I do like a dark spot one probably once every 2 weeks at night. My main skin cycling are with the exfoliation, the retinol, and the barrier support, and then I will have probably once every 2 weeks in the evening, I will just do all about everything I can possibly, all the vitamin C things for my extra dark spot treatment night. So I have had, yeah, Christine, that's my skin. I have sensitive combination where it will be oily in spots and dry in the others. It's extremely sensitive, and skincare cycling has worked very well for me because, again, for me, this is what keeps it simple. If for you, it's you have the exact same thing every night, that is amazing. We need to do what works for us. This is what has worked really well for me and my skin because my skin is more sensitive. And for a long time, I felt like I could not use active ingredients like retinol, glycolic acid. Even as I've been a clinical esthetician for 10 years and been in the beauty industry for 20. And there was a very long time that I could not use these ingredients. I felt like they just didn't work for my skin. My skin was always irritated and I was frustrated. And so I became my own esthetician. I was like, wait, I'm an esthetician. I need to stop listening to the noise and what I'm being told I should do. And I'm gonna start paying attention to my skin. I'm gonna give it what it needs. And I simplified my evening routines. I started cycling. I started integrating in slowly. And I became my own esthetician in a way that I had not been educated before as an esthetician. And that's why I became so passionate about teaching other people to do the same thing. And that's why I love getting to be your esthetician and helping you on that journey too, because these ingredients make such a big difference. And I love the goPure products so much because they are so high quality and they are clean and they are difference making and they are fun for me to use, and I think they're fun for each and every one of you all to use. And I love being able to share this with each and every one of you in a way that you feel like works for you, and teaching in a way where you just have options and you feel empowered to have, say you have all these products, now you know how to use them. You have just fun in different ways where you can build your own routine, pay attention to your skin, and you can feel like you give your skin what it needs. So now, if you feel like you had a question that you really wanted answered and I did not get a chance to answer it, because I know we went through a lot of information today, I would love for you to put in the comments, contact me. So put contact me in the comments and we will ping you and we will ask for your email address. And when we do that, we can contact you and then you can ask us your question and connect. Make sure you're in our VIP group. I would love for you to follow us on TikTok. I create videos all of the time. I'm talking about skin cycling on there, and all these routines I went through, I actually have short little videos where I show these different routines and different options too. So if you're on TikTok, give us a follow. I would absolutely love that. And let us know if you would, oh, Christine, I love that. Yeah, and who's ready to conquer their weekly routine options? Who's gonna try skin cycling? Who's going to just start to have fun and start playing in their evening routines and seeing what works for you? So if you would like to be contacted, yes, isn't that, it makes, I get so excited. Every night I love doing my routine. I love just saying, okay, what does my skin need? What's most appropriate for it right now? What am I gonna do? And it's very fun and exciting for me. I genuinely love it so much. And I love helping you all get excited about that too. So make sure you give us a follow, make sure you're in the VIP group so you don't miss any of these amazing lives that we do and all of that exclusive content. And if you have any additional questions, yes, please put contact me and we can reach out to you. And Brenda, what I want to say is results take time. And when we stay consistent, it really does help improve the quality of our skin, but there is a timeline involved. And I think that sometimes we can feel like we're doing our part, but results are very easy to miss. And I love when you share your before and afters. And I think that's why before and afters make such a big difference, because these are small steps that happen over time. And I love seeing how many people saying, other people were noticing, other people have commented on my glow, other people say my skin looks amazing. Sometimes it's easier for other people to notice more than us, but that's why I love when you share before and afters, because I know as an esthetician, my job is to see skin and see things that other people don't recognize, and I am just so obsessed with seeing the improved quality of all of your skin in your before and afters. My mind is constantly blown at how your skin glows and is more radiant, and it's just that goPure glow that the skin has, and then we see the improvements in all of those concerns, and I just love it so much. I'm totally obsessed. Yes, and no retinol after exfoliating, definitely. I love you all participating. Now, when I close these down, there's a delay. So I want to make sure that no one gets cut off from this. So remember, contact me if you would love to be contacted, if you have any additional questions or concerns or anything like that. And normally I do some fun little moment of zen. And so I am trying to decide if I'm going to do the roller or if I'm going to spot pen. What should I do? I'm going to do the spot pen because I know not all of you have seen it. So I'm just going to show off our spot pen a little bit as we close this down. So thank you so much for joining us. We will see you soon on the next live. Next week, I'm talking all about cleansing and cleansing 101. That's going to be so fun. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you all have an amazing week and try out some skin cycling. So now I'm going to just, you can hop off if you want. I'm just going to start showing off this pen before I shut down. So thank you all so much. I appreciate you all being on this live and spending your time with me. Bye.